That's not a great intro for you, is it?
That's fine.
All right, the professor, Dior.
Yes.
All right. So the story we were laughing about yesterday is true. First met you at the Aim Point Convention at Cassique, where I first met Michael Adams. I leave early to drive back to Birmingham. I stop at a Bojangles. Anybody who knows me, I got to stop and get a diet soda for my ride. It helps me listen to the music and what I'm doing. And I look over, and there's a guy sitting over there, like nice pants on, kind of boat shoes, white boat shoes, sweater. And hey, man, what's up? We're the only two people in there.
We were the only two people in that Bojangles, and I'm in there getting my Cajun filet biscuit with cheese combo.
Yeah.
You know, the fries and, of course, the addiction sweet tea.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we start talking, and it was like, kind of know who you are. I don't know who you are. And then the other one that I remember after establishing that was you and I had a conversation outside the top 100 at the bar.
Yep.
And we talked about, and I'm going to try to say this the right way, we talked about the investment that we make in players when sometimes it doesn't go the right way.
Exactly.
That's a tough thing for an instructor to go through.
Absolutely.
How do you handle it?
Well, you know, Mike Shannon gave me some great advice a few years later. He said, players come, players go. Some come back, most don't.
Okay.
And if you can handle that, you'll be all right. So, as a coach, you have to be mentally tough as well.
Yeah.
Because your energy has an influence on your players' energy, the team's energy, etc. So the biggest thing I've learned over the years, working with a lot of good players, is that I have to work on my mental game as well as a coach. And I have to watch my sleep, my diet, and my diet.
Look at me.
Exactly. But
yeah.
The biggest thing is learning that the mental part isn't something that's separate. It's your whole state and your whole way of seeing things and how you feel is very important from day to day. So, especially
players sense it too.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're negative or you're kind of down, I mean, players
or doubting yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny. Physicians, attorneys, hedge fund managers. I want to say they get trained in it. They get weeded out through it. Like if they're not mentally tough, they're trainers, their managers, their formers are going to move them into scenarios where they can handle it. Military pilots, they're not going to put them in the front seat of a cockpit of a fighter jet when maybe they're best for a different type of aircraft.
Absolutely.
But golf coaches don't get that.
Well, I'll tell you what. You look at Butch Harmon.
Yeah.
You look at Sean Foley. I mean, these guys are mentally strong themselves as coaches. Look at the stuff they have to deal with.
Yeah.
Not just the players, but the media and the fans and the criticism on social media. These guys are mentally tough. I saw that when I was out there. I worked for Justin Rose for almost 5 years, and I got to see Sean operate. I got to see Pete Cowan operate. I got to see, Butch. I got to see all of them. As a coach, mentally, you have to have your stuff together. You have to have your ducks in a row.
Do you struggle sometimes when? Because I'm not going to have this conversation with you. Do you struggle sometimes when you're watching a player play and you're like, God, it's not working. They're not seeing the results.
Well, the results come from the process.
I know that.
And they don't stick to it. And
do you see that's the issue, that they abandon something?
Yeah, they abandon things quickly, and they look for something.
But they don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear it. And here's the thing, too, is they start getting a little bit of performance anxiety, start to worry.
Yeah.
And instead of going back to the things that work or sticking.
It's got to be something shinier.
Yeah, exactly. And we're just talking about, I think the greatest enemy in putting is fear. That's what I see. And once a player misses a short one, it gets in their head and it stays in their head because they don't deal with that trauma. They don't learn to, what I call, pick up the dog tags and move on.
Mm-hmm.
They let it just kind of linger, and it lingers into the next tee shot and then the next.
I love that you're talking about that. There's a great – okay, so I just got done watching Band of Brothers on HBO.
Exactly.
Okay, who was the guy, Tate Donovan's character? I can't remember his name. He sees sees something else, done. Just, melted down. He got shell shock,
mm-hmm.
All right? And we know from treating PTSD, and it's interesting, I'll hear people say, they've got PTSD. I'm like, okay, they don't have PTSD. they have ingrained fear now.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have a hard time as a clinician calling it PTSD because
Right.
I think, but you're so right. That fear gets in and the embarrassment just floods them.
The guilt, the shame,
oh
and
boy.
then it's going to happen again. The narrative changes. You know, when a player is confident and they're in the right state of mind with the putter, it's almost like everything becomes clear, everything becomes calm, right? And it comes to them. That make sense?
Yeah.
And it's almost with putting, as soon as you've missed a short one, it lingers because they don't deal with that trauma. That makes sense? They don't deal with it. So it lingers and it lingers and it lingers, and then we got another one that's similar. Then they go, here we go again.
Yeah.
And then they start panicking.
Versus like, shit's hard.
You're going to miss some.
Yeah.
Putting is hard.
So the average player, and I use the word average in quotes, the club guy, the club girl,
Sure.
who is struggling with short putts.
Yeah.
Or the word yips. Like,
You got to be careful with that one, right? Because because here's what interesting. A guy came to me with full-blown yips. He'd been to every putting instructor. Yeah. And what I had to do was change, and I measured him. He had rotational yips. I mean, the graphs are all over the place, right? And what's interesting, as I asked him, I said, how do you believe the putter should move? And he goes, well, it should go straight back, straight through. And
yes.
And I said, well, you know what? I said,
he's right. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no. I said,
I'm going to go with where I'm going there in a minute.
So I said, putters don't move in straight lines. And I said, come on over here, get in this training aid that I have. It's a big full swing hoop, and I tilted it like 12 degrees. I said, just swing here. I want you to trace. That was the word, trace, or track. That was the key word. I said, I want you to track that putter head parallel to that circle for me. He goes, boy, that feels easy. I'm like, okay, keep doing it. Just keep tracking, keep tracking. I said, now, is it the club head or the face that you're tracking right now? He goes, well, right now it just feels like the club head. I said, now track the shaft. I said, I want the shaft just going like this, in plane. He goes, boy, that feels smooth. As soon as he said the word smooth, I took him over, put him back on the Sam Putt Lab, and guess what I saw with the graphs? Smooth graphs.
All right. So, my theory on the yips. You ready?
Go for it.
All right. I treat it like I treat panic disorder.
Okay.
Person is sitting here. You and I are 50 years old. I'm not 50. How old are you?
I'm 50.
Oh, good catch. Your beard game is strong, though, man.
Thank
I don't know
you.
what you got going on here. I love it. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll have to take a picture of it and put it up on social. It's strong. It's impressive. I'm saying that in all positive. So I'm 46. So we're sitting here one day, and we're in a conference like this. And all of a sudden, man, we're like, oh, God, chest pain.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, heart rate. Boom. Adrenaline hits. I think I'm having a heart attack. I either get to the lobby or something at this hotel, and they call EMT, and they take us to the hospital, and they go, Mr. McCabe, you didn't have a heart attack. It must be stress.
Exactly.
Okay, and I go, stress? I mean, that didn't feel like stress. I know what stress is. So then I go home, and I'm like, okay, I resolve the fact. And then I'm like, somewhere in the back of my head, this little bug just hits me in the back of the head and goes, don't let that happen again. And I go into a room like this again, and I start getting the tension and the stress of this may happen again.
The narrative.
Yeah. And I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to be sweating, and I don't know. And then all of a sudden, the avoidance of such thing happening because the embarrassment ramps it up.
Absolutely.
And so the only way through that is, one, is you get people to ride the anxiety instead of fighting it. And then the other thing, too, is you realize that the embarrassment, nobody really gives a crap.
Except you.
Except for you. And I watch that with yips because all a person with panic wants to do is escape the environment that creates the stress. All the person with the yips wants to do is get the hell off the putting green.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to go ahead and putt before anybody watches.
Here, is that good? Is that good? Somebody give me a gimme.
So I think with yips, and I want to hear your thought on this, not that this is my time, is that somebody probably had a mechanical flaw for a long time.
Yeah, poor concept, conflict.
And it worked fine.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it didn't. Now they're embarrassed about it, or it's a series of they had a bad round where they missed a couple short ones. Now somebody goes, hey, look, you need to accelerate through the ball.
Oh, good. Let's just pour kerosene on that.
100%. Bad information with kerosene on top of it. Now they're lost. They're feeling every symptom from fear versus realizing that I can manage it, and now we got full-blown yips.
Absolutely.
All right. How do you treat it?
How do you treat it? Well,
you come see you in your lab.
Well, here's the thing, too. I try to identify, first of all, a history.
Okay.
And the second thing is I try to find out what kind of yip it is. So you just already talked about acceleration yips, and I've talked about rotational yips, and then there's path yips where you're guiding or steering. So, I call them flat sticks sins, deadly sins.
Yeah.
First one is steering. It's like Paris traffic. You hit the car on the left, overcorrect, hit the car on the right. So you start missing one left, then you miss one right. Then you miss another one left. You're overcorrecting the car. Great putters do not overcorrect. They correct just the right amount and incrementally. I just spent the day with Brad Faxon today.
Yeah, pretty good putter.
Probably one of the greatest, at least in my generation, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting is he doesn't react emotionally to misses. One of his key words is acceptance, and he uses a lot of feedback. So we were using Capto today, and he's looking at the numbers not to be critical or analytical, because what was that shaft lean that time? He goes, okay, now let's move this back here like this. Oh, cool, that's 0. Boom. So now I have a feel for that. He's using each putt as a feedback mechanism for his field. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As opposed to reacting to the result. Brad's not reacting or overcorrecting.
He's learning.
He's learning.
He's comfortable in that environment, though. He's comfortable missing a putt. He don't want to miss.
Right.
But he's not. Steph Curry is comfortable missing a three-pointer because he knows he's still. But when somebody loses that belief in themselves.
Oh, absolutely. But what's interesting to watch Brad practice is, remember back in the day when you were pitching in college and they used to put the rectangles up on the wall and you threw the rubber balls and you went left corner, right corner.
Yeah.
Bottom left, bottom right, center. That's the way Brad practices.
Huh.
He's not trying for perfectly in the center, perfect strike every time. He's using the corners and then throwing a strike. So he knows where he is. He's calibrating himself.
Yeah.
But he's not reacting to the previous miss, which is that deadly sin of steering. Now, the second deadly sin is guiding. And a lot of these training aids that we have that are on the ground or that they teach you to guide. Try to help the putter head go this way or go that way. And you start trying to guide it, and then your stroke starts to get out of whack. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So now you've got two bad mental habits. Ready? You're steering and you're guiding.
You're 10-6ing or not 10-6, 10-3 on a steering wheel.
Remember a pitcher would short arm it?
Oh yeah,
throw it in the dart.
All the time.
That's guiding.
Yeah.
Trying to throw a strike.
But then what's the advice? Just let it go. How can I? I mean, my God, how am I supposed to let it go when I can't believe in what I'm doing?
Exactly. So, you pitched LSU, right?
Yeah.
You had your routine, but more importantly, not only did you have your physical routine, you had your mental routine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you had a rhythm to that, and you threw it.
One of the most brilliant things I ever heard was a major league pitcher who had a routine for when he gave up a home run. And I try to tell people all the time in golf, look, you think it's embarrassing to miss a putt. Give up a home run at the opposing park. They give up a home run. You realize the ball you just threw has sailed 400 feet. The dude that just hit it off you is so freaking excited. Their dugout's exploded. Their home park's going nuts, okay? You have to walk behind the mound and stand there. The umpire's not giving you the ball yet. The guy comes across home plate. Yay, whatever. Don't do all this other stuff. Then the umpire steps out in front. Everybody's watching. They throw you the ball. And then you got to get back up. Yep, here we go. And an inexperienced pitcher gets mad and tries to punch out the next guy on the first pitch. And then he's down 2-0, 3-0 in a count, cascading. So this pitcher said, I practiced my home run routine. Now, people are going to hear this as a routine, but what it really was his way to process this thing of, damn, was that a good pitch that got hit out? Was that a bad pitch that got, whatever?
Feedback.
Okay, let it go. It's over. Not going to worry about mechanics at this point. What do I need to do? I need to raise my level of focus and attention to this next pitch. Not pressure. I just need to be better. We used to do that at LSU. And I see golfers all the time, they miss a short putt. And what's the make percentage from 10 feet on the PGA Tour? 35%, 40%?
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
it depends on the angle that you're putting from, but you got it.
Okay, so you ask a guy or a girl at a weekend tournament at your club, and they're like, I should make those.
As soon as you hit that putt, you have something to do. Did I misread it?
Mm-hmm.
Did I hit it too hard or too soft? Did I push it or pull it? That's your job.
So what changes for them if they say, I hit it too hard and I pulled it?
Now you can correct it. What in your stroke did you do to correct that? In other words, you reflect on what you just did, and then you correct.
How about if you just say it was a brain fart?
Yeah, it could be. Could have been a brain fart, too.
Yeah.
You and I know this is an inside job, period.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? But what's interesting is as soon as I started training my kids to react, this is your reaction. It's like you said.
Yeah.
You know, your reaction, did I misread it, push, pull it, too hard, too soft, correct it, reflect, move on, next, run the process again. And I call it a process. It's, you've got 4 routines: a green reading routine, a pre-putt routine, a targeting routine, and then a post-putt routine. And that's what I teach all my players. And that's your job. Your job is to run that process, and that's it, period. And I've seen a lot of success that way, as opposed to letting them sulk and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need a new glove. Hey, the guy just gave up a new. Hey, gave up a home run. Hey, I need a new glove.
Yeah, I may need a new ball because that's a good little trick. But
yeah.
But you know what? The interesting thing is, I tell everyone, if you're a great pitcher, if you want to study, watch a pitcher when they go behind the mound and they retie their shoes. Their shoes ain't loose. They're not loose. Trust me, they're tied in there.
Absolutely.
It's a slow down process to re-engage, reset.
And I think golfers they carry it with them. And they're
Who's the greatest you ever worked with? I'm going to interrupt you just because.
Potter?
Yeah.
Well, obviously Faxon.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Greatest player I've ever worked with is Justin Rose. Without question. I've worked with a lot of top.
What makes him number one in the world?
He is so good despite anything else.
I mean, this is a guy who missed 19 cuts to start his professional career.
Justin Rose is a once of a decade type player. He is a complete golfer.
Is he a killer?
He is a predator. You can see his jaw change when it's like a shark smelling blood in the water. When he's in the hunt and he knows he's going to win, you can see it. And that I being around him for so much over 5 years, I got to learn his nonverbals. You know, when to approach him, when to say something, when not to, and I could tell the look. And what's funny is, you know, we're all a little quirky in our ways, but what's interesting about Rosie is physically he's probably one of the best players on the planet. Hits it far, drives it straight, hits his irons great, wedges it great. Short game's beautiful. And then, you know, he works with one of my best friends, Phil Kenyon, now, and started making more putts from 5 to 15 feet. And it's the 5 to 15 footers are where you're gaining strokes gained. You know, the whole trick to putting, you ready? Be really clean inside of 3 feet.
I agree with that.
Got it? Just be clean.
Yeah.
And then steal them 5 to 15 footers.
That's it.
And 3-putt occasionally, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times
just less occasionally.
Yeah, and those 3-putts are probably ball striking 3-putts because your proximity to the hole is too far away.
Yeah.
Or you're going.
And every once in a while, you find a short and curly hair in your pizza. You hit it to 8 feet and you 3-putt it.
Occasionally.
I mean, you just got to look at it and go, damn, I don't want that piece. Sorry for everybody driving in their car right now that just vomited in their mouth.
Right.
It happens sometimes.
It does. It does.
Okay, so one of the things that I've believed, like, great players can get a ball off the tee in play.
Yep.
Okay. They can clean up the easy chip shots.
Yep.
They have great speed control. Okay. Which I want to come back to a question on that. And they can own 10 feet and in. Now, what I mean by that is don't screw up the 3-footers and in. See them as an opportunity. Practice the 5-footers because no one does, which is the first break point of you getting up and down, and just kind of owning those. And, you know, obviously, ball striking matters. I mean, if you're missing greens, but nobody practices the easy stuff.
I think it's the proximity to the hole
more
than it is the green.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and missing it on the correct side. That's one thing about Justin. He always would miss it on the correct side, pretty much. Very rarely would he miss it on the short side.
He's not going to blow up a challenge.
Exactly.
The speed, I'm going to speak out of turn here, and I hope it's not a drill that you use, but I'm going to tell you a drill I hate. Okay? We're going to set up a drill from outside of 20 feet. We're going to put a stick 2 feet behind the hole. Is this a drill of yours? And if it goes short, it doesn't count. You lose. But if it goes long but stays inside the stick, from 35 feet, if I roll it up to an inch short, that's a loss? Am I wrong on that?
No, I think that's a great putt from 30 feet.
Hell yeah.
Now from 3 feet?
Okay, yeah, we got another problem.
Right.
Yeah. How many instructors have come through your system that are out here that are making a name for themselves?
What, you mean the Flat Stick certified?
Flat Stick certified, through Campbell, through...
Oh, wow, yeah. You know, I've been very blessed to have not just great players, but great coaches and students.
Yeah.
Right now we're well over 50 certified instructors worldwide.
Okay.
And, I get a lot of people that are interested in putting. I teach them how to, improve their coaching with putting.
Isn't it funny? Piss you off now, but isn't it funny? I heard about 10 years ago, I tried to get a coach to go all in on being a putting coach. He's like, yeah, but if I can't coach the full swing, then I'm not much of a coach. I'm like, idiot. I mean, I love the guy to death. I'm saying that. He's listening to this. He's probably going, I didn't call you an idiot, but
you're going to
love
like
idiot
this.
Thinking. Come on, man. You be an expert.
You're going to love this. So Brad Faxon just recently got into coaching putting.
Okay.
He works with Rory McIlroy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And a few others. And, Brad's a genius when it comes to his own putting. And he's really got a great knack for coaching and a passion for giving.
It's like Hal Sutton.
Yeah.
I've seen Hal
and what's interesting is Brad and I have chatted a few times and called me up one time. He goes, coaching putting's hard. I'm like, exactly, because you have to hole out. When you hit a driver off the tee, you just got to find it. Hit it far and find it. Hit it on or near the hole. But with putting, there's an emotional component to it. And I didn't realize, I went on tour. I've been teaching on tour for 11 years now, I think. And, I thought, okay, yeah, I can teach them how to read a green, work on some speed, get them to start the ball in line, fix their setup and stroke. I thought it would be easy. Well, what if all that's perfect?
Yeah, I know.
What if all that's great?
I'm with you.
Now, because it's a much deeper thing than that. And, we'll go even, and you know me, I'm a little off the beaten path anyway, but it's a gut check. Sometimes I just got off the phone with one of my tour players, one of my rookies. And I said, we'd be leading the tour in putting if we could make a 5-footer. And I was realistic. I said, you're not disciplined enough. And I said, I'm not punishing you. I said, you need better eye discipline. I said, you're peeking, you're guiding, you're steering, because your stroke's too good to miss a 5-footer. And I said, I want you to work on your process, and I want you to get quieter, calmer, but I want you more disciplined. And here's the image I get. Do you have a dog?
I did.
All right. Remember you have a dog sitting there,
and
you put a bone between his legs, and you say no.
No. Yeah.
You don't pick up that bone until the master tells you to.
Right.
So I told him, I said, you don't hit that putt until your gut tells you, okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. Love it. Love it.
Discipline.
Don't be in a hurry to get out of the discomfort.
Exactly. Hey, great players are comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. More than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've got a drill for that.
Okay.
Because baseball guy.
Yeah.
Look, we practiced at LSU the stuff that no one else wanted to do.
Yeah.
Bunts, pickoffs, rundowns. But we didn't worry about running through and stepping on the plates and looking over, and we practiced home runs, okay? But we did the little things really good. If the ball went to the shortstop, we made the throw. But I have a drill that I started with kids. I had some things with some kids in my audience, and I was like, they're like, hey, what else do we do? And I'm like, well, you go hit some 5-footers. So I watch them hit some 5-footers. They're done. That was 4 minutes. I said, 5-footers are like taking ground balls. You got to take thousands of them. So I said, I want you to set up 8 stations around the hole. North, northeast, south, south, southwest. Pick a station, you start. You have to make 3 in a row. You make it, you move to the next station. Anytime you miss, you start all the way over. No, man, come on. So I gave it to one of my players one day, and this guy calls me and goes, you ruined my confidence. I said, can't. That means you're already a bad putter, but you never did the work. You assumed it would transfer when you got under pressure. Mm-hmm. I'm going to out somebody right now because to me he's one of the best putters in the world, Brian Harmon.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian calls and he goes, I'm looking at my stats and realizing that things aren't great. Okay. And he goes, that's where I make my money. I got to get better. And I said, well, buddy, you got to get better inside around 5 to 6 feet, 7 feet. Well, if you make your 5-footers, the 7-footer looks like the same. I said, do this drill. The average length of time to complete that drill is 1 hour and 43 minutes. Mm-hmm. Brian called me and goes, 28 minutes. I said, if you can't see that as an advantage when you go out there. But other people will miss number 20 and go, God, see, I suck. And I'm like, dude, you just made 20 of 21 putts from 5 feet. But in this hour and a half, you made 400 putts. When was the last time you made 400 putts from 8 different stations around a hole? It's discipline, right?
Yes, and you know what?
I'm like, put your headphones in and let it go.
You and I are old school.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So my big joke is I'm a cross between Bobby Knight, Lou Holtz, and Napoleon Bonaparte.
That's good.
That pretty much describes me, right?
That'll work.
And what's interesting is, people don't realize that confidence is earned.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing that drill you just talked about, you have to earn it.
That's right.
And you know you've earned it, and you stand over that putt. I'll tell you, the greatest short putter I've ever seen in my life was Vicky Getz Ackerman, University of Georgia.
Wow, that's a name.
Her father used to make her putt 100 in a row from 5 feet before she could leave the golf course. Now, granted, it was block practice.
It doesn't matter.
The point was the mental
That's why
toughness.
I think we knock block practice way too much.
Yeah, but the point is, it wasn't about the 5-footer.
No.
The point about was the gut check.
Yes.
The discipline.
And she knows when she walks off, she's slayed the dragon.
She's earned it.
I've earned it. Like, that's the whole thing. Is exactly right. It's like, when I walk on that green, like I tell my players, don't step on that green unless you're ready to be in the fight. Walk around until you're ready.
So Brad Faxon, ready? I
Yeah.
asked Brad, first time he came to see me, I said, Brad, how'd you become a confident putter? Brad's a big guy. He's 6'3", right? He leans towards me, his chest comes out, and he goes, I earned it. Nope. And he goes, that's my biggest pet peeve of people. I was not born a great putter.
Yeah.
He goes, I earned it.
Patton Kazire, 6'5".
Yeah.
Been with Patton since he was on the mini tours. Great putter. He wins Mayakovas, hitting it not the way he wants to. He's making 10 and 15 footers on Ricky. Boom. Okay. I'm like, and so it reflected back to a time where I was working with him on the mini tour, and he was struggling off the tee. He had gotten some stuff worked out with TA and Todd Anderson, but he looks at me and he goes, "Dude, when it comes to short game, man, ain't nobody in this world gonna beat me. I've earned this." I'm like, boom.
Exactly.
He probably doesn't even remember saying it, but I didn't. Kevin Chappell, who I worked with, very first, Graham McDowell was my first tour player, big time tour player. Kevin Chappell was my education. And I mean that with full respect. I learned a lot. G-Mac and I are still working, and Kevin and I are done, and we still text all the time. And I'm at Riviera, first time I ever go out on tour with him. And he goes, hey, Doc, can you do me a favor? Can you look up who's the world's best bunker player right now? And we're in the bunker, and I looked it up, and he goes, you may not be able to find it. It's me. Watch this. I'm like, man, if you could bottle that up for
that
players.
belief system.
But it's earned.
It's earned.
It's earned. And that's what people don't understand is when we watch people who walk up on the green, it doesn't mean that Brad Faxon thinks, I'm going to make every putt because I'm Brad Faxon. He walks up and goes, I'm going to make this putt because I have earned the right to believe I'm going to make this putt.
Absolutely. And the people that don't have the confidence know deep down they haven't done the work.
They're hoping.
Well, they haven't done the work.
Yeah, they're hoping.
So
that's why I've always said hope is the worst strategy in America. It won a guy a president for 8 years, and it was sold on, I don't care where you sit politically, it was sold on you're not happy where you are, and I'm going to give you a new way based on results. It wasn't based on shovels in the ground. It wasn't based on the 80s of everybody can achieve it. It was I'm going to bring new hope to you, not we're going to rebuild this.
Exactly.
And whenever a player's struggling, it's like, I got one right now, and I'm like, what music are you telling yourself? Are you playing or are you playing dun 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 dun? Because I'm working.
Exactly. You know, it's funny because when I speak all over the world, just like you do.
Yeah, you're a great speaker, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I know. I mean, I love going up. I love your path. If any of you have ever had a chance to find David speaking online, if you can't see him in person, do it because Professor has got the whole thing, and then it's just the passion comes out of realness.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's authentic.
It's authentic,
right?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is, I asked Colin Swatton, I said, Colin, how much does jday really practice? He goes, about 15 to 20 hours a week. I said, putting? He goes, yeah. It's like, okay.
You see the quote after Bay Hill?
Yeah, I did see that. Now, what's interesting.
I know. I want to hear it.
Now, what's interesting is he has a putting studio at home.
Of course.
So a lot of these players that say, oh, he didn't practice that much. You don't know what he's doing at home.
At night.
Matter of fact, a lot of good players practice off-site.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe he dropped a few balls on the putting green on Tuesday at the tour event, and it wasn't 2 hours, but you don't know what he's done back home. Jordan Spieth, I went to Cameron, McCormick's to Cameron. How much Jordan practiced? It's about 10 to 15 hours a week. So what's interesting is I speak all over the world, and I can ask everybody in this room, how much putting did you do this week? And they'll go, none. How about you? 20
I have
minutes.
a 1,000-square-foot putting green in my office. I haven't done any.
Okay, but I ask this everywhere I speak, and occasionally you'll get somebody that says 3. Okay?
3. Now,
do you remember Maggie Ashmore?
Oh, yeah.
So Maggie had the worst technique of anybody I'd ever worked with from college level. She was left-hand low, swiping across it, backing up, and we rebuilt her mechanics. Okay? And I said, Maggie, you're going to commit to me 10 hours a week. That's what you're going to do. You're going to earn this. And she has gone from averaging like 75 to shooting 71. And now we have discussions about her work ethic. And she goes, you know what? I know nobody has worked harder than me.
That girl's driven.
She is driven. But what's interesting is she committed to me. She filled out her drills, her warm-up, her stroke station, her short, medium, long drills, put it on a spreadsheet, put her name on it, and sent it to me. And I said, you're accountable for that.
It's interesting you say that. So a couple years ago, I had a guy come to see me and said, I don't like being 7th on my team, college. I said, what are you going to do about it? I'm going to work hard. I said, don't give me that. Everybody's going to work hard. Okay, what are you going to do? So he sends me, and I broke out how I like people to practice, came from my background. And he goes, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I said, okay, I need it better. And he lays out, David, this spreadsheet about that long. And I give it to people today, and they go, oh, my God. I'm like, well, he was off for the holiday. He went from 7th to 1st. And he called me, and he goes, I didn't qualify for the first tournament when he came back. But he goes, my scoring average was 71.7. And my mom called and said, well, you remember the last tournament you had was 78.6. So pretty good improvement. And he laid this thing out, and he was so disciplined.
There's that word again.
I know. The best of the best. I said it yesterday on stage. The best of the best, when it gets hard, get more disciplined. They don't get more exotic. Yes, they don't get more exotic. They get more disciplined to the little details. No, Chick-fil-A, if they're struggling, look at how they move clients through the door, not inventing a new sandwich. You don't see Chick-fil-A coming out with a cheesy sauce, bacon, double bacon sandwich. I know you'd like that. They don't come out with that. They come out with, we're going to improve our drive-through line.
You know, I've been very fortunate. I've been teaching golf for 27 years. I've got a lot of people that have helped me. I've got a lot of people that have helped me along the way. And like I said before, I don't think I'd be here without, Justin Rose was my education.
Yeah, I get it.
Sean Foley was my education. Fooch, Mark Fulcher's caddy, who just had heart surgery, who I hope's recovering well. You've been out there on tour. You either sink or swim.
Yeah.
You got to learn to, become a better coach. I was not a good coach when I went out there. I was a teacher. I was an educator. And I became a better coach. And then obviously with the reputation of having helped a few good players, I started getting a lot of speaking engagements, and then they got to see the real me. Because I teach at Campbell University. I've been teaching for 15 years. I speak lectures 3-4 times a week for 15 years. So getting up on front of a stage and speaking to people, to me, is like fish in water.
Yeah.
But the bet tonight is to make sure that I don't, I got a $1 bet to not use any profanity. So,
well, what's defined as profanity, though?
Exactly.
It's all relative.
It is, because in the north,
Yeah, it's color.
Yeah, exactly. In the south, it's like.
Well, just say bless your heart afterwards.
Exactly.
That's all you got to do.
Exactly. Brett.
Thank you, man. Awesome. Thank you.
Best.
You're the best, man.
All right.
Thanks
so much.